Today, I'm tackling a question I get nearly every single week, and that is how I manage work-life balance, especially now as a working mom. I'm going to show you exactly how I get 8 things off my plate in this video. Well, hey there, and welcome to the Ashlyn Rates channel. I'm Ashlyn, and if you're watching this, you likely already get the gist of what outsourcing is. There was a funny article in my most recent Town and Country magazine talking about how helpful it feels to outsource something, but at the same time, it can feel kind of bougie, and I'll admit I was totally in that camp. Entrepreneur Tim Ferriss really put virtual personal assistants on the map for a lot of people when he talked about outsourcing in his book 4-Hour Workweek. So we get this idea that maybe we can trade a task for a more high value investment of our time and energy. But what about the cost of life itself? In his book, Walden, Henry David Thoreau poses the question, the cost of the thing is the amount of what I'll call life, which is required to be exchanged for it. This is the place that I've come to, because while it is so important in my business for me to focus my time and energy on the things that bring in the most income, which are truly in my wheelhouse and in my place of genius, outsourcing those tasks that slow me down or that I could just pay somebody to do and recoup the costs. What all of that leaves out in the mathematical equation is the cost of life itself to you. Do you get more life back when you ask somebody else to handle something for you? And if so, is that worth it? Well, I would argue that sometimes it definitely is. So let's get into it. I'm going to tell you 8 things that I get off my plate. Hopefully they'll get your wheels turning as well. And there's a little bonus tip at the end you'll want to stay tuned for. Number 1, house cleaning. How do you keep your house clean with 2 German Shepherds and a baby? Follower Cameron asked me on Instagram. If you followed my channel, you may have heard this story before, but essentially we had budgeted for some sort of house cleaning for a year before I trusted the system and allowed myself the opportunity to go ahead and ask them to come over. I just felt like it was something that I could do, I could handle, and we could save the money. Well, now we've had a house cleaner for about a year, which means she's pretty much saved us 52 marriage arguments. I used to get so bent out of shape with having the house clean every Saturday morning at the same time. Well, Wes wanted to go play golf, as was his prerogative, to have his own leisure time. And back and forth, we would just argue about this. He'd always tell me that he would help me after his morning tea time, but I just couldn't wait, and it was just a big mess. I'm also not a speedy cleaner. It would take me the entire half day on a Saturday to clean the house. To crunch numbers here and tell you exactly what this looks like for me and my family, we pay $100 2 times a month, so it's every other week cleaning, and then in the off weeks, I spot clean. We also have a Roomba. It was an incredible Christmas present, and it's also a little bit of a form of outsourcing, but I run that really often. Again, with 2 dogs running around the house, there's a whole lot of little dust bunnies, and my feet feel like a petri dish by the end of the day, so I like to run that all the time. Number 2, taking notes on calls. As a small business owner, I rely on calls over the internet for meetings and to service our clients. Now, I'll jot down notes during meetings, but when I need greater detail, I'll turn to a cool tool called Rev. This is a transcription service website, and it is so much better than any person that I found on Fiverr.com or any websites like that. It costs about $1 a minute to transcribe your video or audio files, which is a pretty low enough price point that if you wanted to bake it into your client price point on their packages, that's something that you could be able to do. For example, I've used it with onboarding brides when I was servicing brides for calligraphy suites, so I could really focus on them and listen to what they were asking for. I've also used it for more deep dive calls with my copywriting clients, so I'm really able to listen in and build out their email funnels just so. Number 3, on the subject of calls, let's talk about scheduling them. I hate all that back and forth about where's our call link, and don't forget we have a call tomorrow, not to mention the email ping pong of even finding a time that syncs with both parties. Acuity has been my go-to virtual secretary for this for a while. Number 4, grocery shopping. You hear this little cold. Well, the other day I was sick, the baby was sick, and we were coming out of the doctor, and I needed to go to the grocery store to stock up on Gatorade and chicken noodle soup and meds and all that kind of stuff. At that moment, the idea of getting the car seat out, the whole 9 yards, going into the grocery store, it just sounded miserable. Cost of life thing. Remember paying $8 for somebody to do that for for me seemed a whole lot better of an option. Now here I'm talking about Instacart and Amazon Prime Now. Those are the two tools that we use all the time for this. We also do have a little family rule that unless the order is over about $70 or $80, we don't do this. So the other day when I did this when I was sick, that was out of the norm. Essentially, we just use it for the weekly grocery haul, not times during the week when you need to run and get something. Also, this tool has kept me from putting random things into my cart as I walk along and stroll the aisles of the grocery store. Number 5, administrative tasks and project management. I think everyone needs a Kate. My inbox used to be a huge source of stress for me, so I buckled down and hired on a virtual assistant. Kate not only manages my inbox, schedules appointments, and pretty much knows more about the heartbeat of the business than I do because she's really looking at every single thing that's coming in each day. She reads all my emails, flags them for follow-up so I know what I need to respond to when I get in, but she also responds to things that she can handle. This frees me up to get that solitude and white space to write, to create, to think, and to set the vision for the business. She's even become more of a project manager as her role has grown over the past year. So that's my encouragement to you on this one. If you are interested in growing your team, maybe this is something that you could start with. That's what I did. Number 6, bookkeeping and payroll. Oh, heck yes. My students inside the Art of Efficiency know that I say, I think you need to know enough about something to be dangerous before you hand it off to somebody else. I think that helps you figure out the price of what it's worth. Bookkeeping is like this for me. Before I paid to have this done in my business, I would meticulously every single Friday spend a good 2 to 3 hours trying to track all my finances and making sure my clients had paid. This is a good goal of something that you could set to get off your plate if you haven't already. Having steadfast bookkeeping involved in my business means that I can at a high level look at my P&Ls, the numbers I want to track, and monitor the budget so I can make financial decisions for my business. But when it comes to categorizing all the different expenses, like a little flash drive that I ordered on the internet, or even just hawkeyeing the accounts to look for any weird expenditures that are going on, all of that, it's off my plate. Number 7, this one's kind of new to me. Now, I am a voracious reader, which many of you may know, but I didn't really get into audiobooks until last month. My sister-in-law and a buddy told me about this great app called Libby. Essentially, you just punch in your library card digits and you're able to log in. So yes, it's free. I don't love reading books digitally, but I do like listening to them. So when I'm folding laundry or washing bottles or even just soaking in the tub, I'll put on my headphones and knock out a chapter of a book. And number 8, editing. A friend texted me yesterday and asked if I edit these videos. No, I don't. Trina Little contracts for my team and does all of the post-production editing of these videos and even posts them online. Again, this is an example of something that gets me out of the weeds, out of the part I hate, and lets me focus on what I actually really love. But what I want to note here is that I wasn't even very good at editing. Which brings me to my question for you. Is there a part of your client experience or workflow or your content creation that you're not even really that good at? My first true team member was my mom, and I brought her on to my calligraphy business because I needed somebody to spell check and look at every single envelope that I'd calligraphed because I would make mistakes and I didn't see them because I guess I was the one that had written it, and it needed bringing somebody else in to actually find those for me so we didn't give our clients a bad product. If you're looking for more outsourcing support, make sure you join Thousands and grab my free guide, 5 things to outsource in your business. It's a checklist waiting for you down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button below and stay tuned for the next episode all about how you can grow your business with outsourcing.